guys, Matthew. This is a target pool session of mine. It says target 685213. It's the Alpha Squad. Not sure what it is. I'll take you through my session. Right, first part, I sketched this thing. Not sure what it was. I had a pain in my eyes. It sounds stupid, but I wrote down my eyes hurt and I had physical pain. And that was that for the first part. Right, moving on to the next part, I produced an ideogram, a couple of sketches. I was getting this impression of this person holding an object like in their hand, and this object was like an irregular shape, almost like a star, like a ninja sort of weapon, where it was like a handheld weapon. I know it sounds stupid. I had of a man holding something. I wrote down artifact or weapon. It reminded me of like this, like on the Predator, there's like a handheld like disc. It was like that. This person was holding this weapon that was hand-to-hand combat weapon. By moving on, I sketched this place where there was some man-made structures, complex structures, with it led to an underground tiered concrete structure. So this goes in and well, possibly underground or in a hill. That's the sort of impression I was getting. It's a complex man-made structure where it leads to something. That's what I was getting here. Right, this next part, I sketched a structure with some form of stepped sides to it. Reminded me of like concrete layers that do this sort of thing. And like on the right, I sketched this like tiered structure. Like it almost reminded me of like a step pyramid, with this object on top. Not sure what the thing on the top was, whether it's a mountain. I have no idea. It just came up, that's all. Right, this next part, I produced an ideogram, a couple of sketches. I had this idea of this like possible door that emitting overarching energy below this wave-like form. I wrote down no coining. I'm not sure what coining is. Do a bit of research on it, and if I find anything, I'll post it in this. But not sure what I meant by this. Right, moving on. Still no idea what this was. I sketched this sort of like target type of thing with a triangle insert that it's got this arrow through it, and it leads to something like stretched. It's hard to say, but this like stretched sort of like thing. So whether it's reminds me of like piercing something. I know it sounds stupid. This idea of this target and through. Other than that, that's all I can come up with at this part. Right, moving on. This is my second session on this. I produced two ideograms, almost identical. Had an A1 of Detectorists, which is a British metal detectorists program. So it's reminding me of this like treasure find. That's what my AOL was. I thought it was an artifact retrieval feel to it. Like they're trying to this is involving finding something of importance. AOL horse-drawn box. Not sure what I meant with this. And below I sketched a few things. Not sure what they were, so I'll have a look and you'll see. Right, moving on to the next part, I sketched this idea of this like water source, this structure where there was like tiered water. Around water source gradient sort of feel, where water flows. So wherever this is, or part of this target, there's involving like flowing water, possibly. Temporary, I'm not sure what that meant. I was getting this idea of this like person, like as if you're flying, like holding out like the arms and legs, as if you're like skydiving. Wrote down a double-headed bird. This person, like idea of a person like free falling, as if your arms and legs are out. Right, here AOL did Industrial City. I had a couple of sketches. This idea of this like complex concrete structures came to mind. This idea of this like static in the air, static electricity is just like filling the air in this area, and that was that. Right, I sketched this person. I wrote down psychoactive. He's a weird person, highly intelligent. I wrote down. It's got like a deranged look about him. Like a weird sort of strange look. Bushy eyebrows, big eyes, like hair, like old person's hair, where you'd have like a lot on the side. Right. This next part of the target, it was very strange. I was getting this like tunnel idea. Wrote down unstable link on tunnels. On times. I can't read my writing sometimes. I sketch a couple of tunnels, this corridor sort of feel. I wrote down plasma shoots against a wall. This idea of it, like it was very much like Stranger Things. This was, where like I wrote down a dimensional corridor. What did I write down? Teams proceed. This idea of like individuals going in single line through multiple plasma-induced array. Not sure what that means, but this idea of this like multiple devices, energy devices, creating a energy displacement or some, just shooting against this flat surface, which allowed people to go through this corridor. Right, moving on, I sketched this like structure where had like lots of complex features to it. I wrote down a form of waterway. I was getting this idea of this water cascading down off part of it. Complex structure, I wrote down a bit of a sketch below that looked like a sort of big King Arthur's chair, to be honest with you. Other than that, I'm not sure what it is. Right, this part I was getting this idea of this like interlocking fields of energy where they like overlap, like constant like that. It's hard to put it down, but and then lower down I wrote down a weird leg structure. So this thing with a couple of legs, it's not, I don't think it's human or possibly robot, I'm not sure. This thing was like multiple legs to it. That's all that came about. Right, this wasn't like coherent or anything. I was just getting this like idea of this glowing pressure, this outlay of a form, just multiple layers to this outline of a glowing thing. It's just a weird perception. Right, next part, I was getting this like AOL of a jet, this thing airborne. What was that minute? I'm not sure what that was. On the right side. Down below, don't know what it was. Right, moving on, the next perception. I just drew this sort of like area where I was enclosed, where I think I wrote down chair. This, like, I was in this sort of like place where this ceiling was sort of like draped like this. It wasn't like a complete straight structure. It was like drapings to it, if that makes any sense. I wrote down chair, this sort of like enclosed. It reminded me of like this like Flight of the Navigator sort of enclosed, not craft, but place. And the bottom part I wrote down, I was getting this like not look through, but I wrote down energy tear. This like object in it, I could see it moving around. I'm not sure what all this was. And that was that for this like weird part of the session. This last part of the session was a weird sketch where it was just, I was in this place where there was like energy just spiraling around, and at the bottom it was like huge amounts of it. Not sure what it is, just sketched what I felt and saw, and that concludes the session. Very strange, weird one. I have no idea what it is. Just want to end it there.